Hey everybody. So, once again, I'm coming back. I'm not going to drown you out with the red pill, pink pill content stuff, but I just wanted to approach it like from a more spiritual perspective as far as what is the divine feminine essence. So, I'm going to break that down from a spiritual aspect today in my video. A lot of what I'm seeing as far as what's presented to us on that topic seems to be really bland and just kind of inarticulate type expression of what the divine feminine is. So, my name is Dr. D. Oracle. I'm a psychic medium. I love to give insight and information. People pay me for that all the time when I give readings, and I help them to figure out what root issues are and how to deal with those issues. So, when it comes down to the divine feminine, I see a lot of women on YouTube, as well as men, addressing that women are not feminine enough. And so, when you hear that, you wonder what is being feminine enough. Because when you all think of it, we all have, that counterpart that can be divine, feminine, or masculine, where we can tap into that emotion or we can tap into that protective sort of let me secure my surroundings type of approach. But when we're talking about the divine feminine, we are talking about an aspect of a woman to be adaptable, okay, to her environment, and to the way things evolve or move. And her approach to reasoning represents that because she can always find a reason to live. And she can always tune into, that sort of essence, that natural essence in people to pick up their emotions, okay? So when we're talking about this feminine essence, we're really talking about an aspect of empathy, okay? And we are designed by nature to have this empathy because we have children. If we couldn't empathize, and when we have children, we wouldn't care to see what's wrong with them. Okay. So when we're talking about this essence, when it comes down to what men actually think they want, they are kind of looking for that same standard, someone who can kind of evolve with them. Okay. Someone who can kind of tune into their needs and emotions, because when you can do that, you kind of sort of understand how to react to a person. And so if you act in a more protective type of secure stance, people generally are now equating that as a masculine energy that you're carrying. But let's talk about that for a minute, because sometimes we have to tap into that masculine energy to secure whatever we need to take care of ourselves, and to also secure our persons or our environments and be protective. So for me, I feel like women are more of an adaptable essence because they can kind of jump in and out those energies. But sometimes our ability to reason with a man is based on when we understand how to jump in and out those energies to reason, okay? When I say reason, okay, when we submit to a man, we are submitting to him on the basis that he understands that if he's not being governed by a higher authority, or there's something uncomfortable that may be happening I need to be able to go and reason with my man. But I still need to be able to tune into his energy so that I can understand when he'll be receptive to me, as well as making him, or not making him, because we can't make anybody do anything, but being more conscious of how we're impacting the emotion, the attitude, because man is coarse. And we don't expect him to be like so emotionally connected, which is really confusing because um, not being so emotionally connected is confused with being emotionally unavailable. But when it comes down to our attitude, and that's what we're dealing with right now, can you approach a man to reason with him, and understand that you don't need to be as protective, and you don't need to be the one to secure like the environment. You just need to be able to tune into his energy and kind of flow with that energy. Um, so let's talk about that in terms of communication. Because sometimes when you're in a relationship and you're going through things, you feel like you need to be able to kind of like vent. But in the context of a relationship, that's not always one of the best and safest things to do, depending on who you're venting to and what it's about. And so men kind of sort of feel like women put them on blast by going and talking about like those things instead of just, safely working it out, reasoning with them. Um, So men also need to be receptive to reasoning. And that's where I find it to be a real problem because they kind of don't understand when a woman is really actually being a pushover. And this is sometimes based on looks, okay? Or sex, versus when they need to understand that a woman does have some type of intuitive gift. And so when you're able to tune into your man with that intuitive gift, that's what they like. Okay, that's the submission that they're talking about because it kind of sort of comes to them like, I know that, you'll make the most logical decision and you'll be a great judge, but I just need to make you aware of this and this and this. And he can exchange that energy by saying, wow, now I have a broader perception. And so, yeah, I'm able to navigate or move around the situation a little bit better. And this is where you get that phrase like behind every good man or every successful man, there's a good woman or a successful woman. Um, that is the good or the success that we're talking about. The energy of being able to adapt, but just kind of really, receive at the same time. That's the submission. That's the characteristic that the men are looking for. People can't really define it. They're calling it things like cooperation, or being agreeable. So, yeah, that kind of like, it doesn't really give it more of a spiritual perspective, okay? But when you're talking about the power that a man yields over his environment, he sets the standard for that